Hello, Internet. My name is Ryan Ingram, and this is the second part and the 7th episode of the Millionaire by 30s series. This is the second part of investing. First, we talked about the stock market, and now we're going to be talking about real estate investing. All right, now I've already created a real estate investing for beginners playlist, so please start there. We're not going to be able to cover all the aspects of real estate investing. I'm just making a case as to why real estate investing is going to be a very powerful component to you hitting the millionaire by 30 mark. And that is because in the last episode, towards the end of the stock market, my chief complaint about the stock market is that you don't have control and that $1 is $1. Now, here in real estate investing, I have tons of videos already about this. I've got the Deals Explained playlist. In this playlist, I'm going through all of the deals that we've done so far. Now, this is a work in progress. We've got 63 units that we currently own. And I think I currently, as of the time of this recording, only have about 11 videos, but there's gonna be a lot more to come. So please make sure you subscribe and check those out. So in the 5th episode about spending money, we used this imagery of buckets, and we're gonna do the same here. So imagine that real estate is a bucket. Your income in here is going to be the tenant's rent. Now, similarly, all of your real estate, there's gonna be a few expenses that you have to have. That's property taxes. You have repairs and maintenance. If you're using leverage, which I highly recommend that you do, then you have a mortgage payment. You also have insurance. Unfortunately, people are probably gonna move out at some point, so you also have vacancy. And lastly, you're gonna have capital expenditures, or CapEx. All right, now done properly, the cash flow or the rent is going to be enough so that as the rent comes in, all of these expenses that go out are gonna be taken care of all by the rental income. So even though you have acquired this piece of real estate, the rent is going to cover all of your expenses. So yes, you're going to put in the initial down payment, but you're not going to have to pay for these so long as the property is occupied. So specifically in the 5th episode, we were talking about how it's incredibly beneficial and the super savvy people figure out how to limit their expenses as much as possible, and then also figure out how to either turn their expenses back into income or figure out how to take hold of these. And real estate has that built in a few ways already, specifically in the mortgage. So in the mortgage, let's use this kind of leaky hole in the bucket as the mortgage payment. So this is actually going to be another bucket. So some of the money that is coming out for the mortgage payment is going to be retained as principal pay down. So some people kind of refer this, especially if it's their own personal house, they refer to the principal pay down or the mortgage on their property as a forced savings account. Because if they have a 30-year mortgage for, let's say, $100,000, then at the end of that 30 years, even though they pay probably somewhere around the $180,000, $200,000 mark over the course of 30 years, they're able to maintain or keep $100,000 of that, or whatever the mortgaged amount is. So in this case, your tenant is paying the rent. Some of the expenses that are being made are coming out for the mortgage, and this mortgage, just a little bit, some of it's going right through or right past the bucket, and then the principal pay down is being retained here. And as I just drew this squiggly line, in a perfect world, the rent amount coming in is going to be more than enough to cover all of these expenses. So afterwards, anything that you have left out can go back to yourself. So all of the money that accumulates inside of this piece of real estate, if you have it in a separate account, you can take out the cash flow from the property after the expenses are paid. So there are a few different ways that you're going to make money through real estate. The first way that we just talked about is the principal pay down. So each time your tenant makes one of your mortgage payments for you, a very small portion of that mortgage payment is going to be taken against the principal. So your loan balance is going to decrease. As that happens, you are saving a very small amount of money. The second way is by the tax benefits. Now, we've all heard about wealthy individuals that may or may not pay income taxes, and generally when that is the case, it has something to do with real estate. When you purchase a piece of real estate, let's say You buy a property for $100,000. Over the next few decades, you're able to write off that $100,000 or depreciate it. So if you own real estate, generally for the first several years, then you are going to be able to count some of the depreciation against your income. So let's say you have a job where you make $100,000 a year and you are investing in real estate pretty heavily. Any of the money, let's say your real estate business is negative 20,000 due to the depreciation. On paper, you're not going to show an income of 100,000, you're going to show an income of 80,000. So that can be a giant deal for a lot of people. The third way that real estate can make you money is appreciation. Now, in appreciation, the nationwide average is 4% per year. So in this scenario, let's say you were to buy a property for $100,000. The following year, it'll be worth $104,000. The year after that, add 4% of 104 to that. And if you stretch that out over 30 years, then the property of the value is going to increase tremendously. Now, by and large, especially here in the Midwest, we kind of consider appreciation as like the cherry on top. You don't account for it. You really want to pay attention to the cash flow and just accept this as it happens, when it happens, even if it happens. Now, the fourth way you can is equity. So equity happens in one of two ways. If you buy a property for the full market value and you have the loan, then the equity is going to be the principal pay down. However, if you're strategic about which properties you purchase, you can often find properties that are distressed, properties that have been owned by someone for a very long time, and they have deferred a lot of maintenance on the property. Let's say it needs a new roof, new flooring throughout, then these are things that could go against the selling price. So let's say the market value is $100,000, but there is $40,000 worth of deferred maintenance on the property. Then the property won't sell for, let's say, $60,000 because there has to be some sort of premium on the buyer of that property to make it worth their while. So you might be able to purchase this $100,000 home for as low as $30,000 to $40,000. So let's say you were to buy it for $30,000, it needed $40,000 worth of work. You only have $70,000 into this property, but it's worth $100,000. So that equity that you get for fixing the property up, taking it back to its pristine condition, you're going to get $30,000 off the top. So this is a very large way, as I've discussed previously, that my brother and I were able to build a real estate investing portfolio that has over $1 million worth of equity, because largely what we do is we buy distressed homes or distressed multifamily properties and get them back up to speed. Okay, and as we discussed, the fifth way is cash flow. So ideally, you're gonna rent the property to somebody for more than the expenses. After all of the expenses are paid, then you have cash flow. And this is money that you could put in your pocket, you could put back into your business. It becomes your money. You can do whatever it is that you want to with that money. And the last thing that I'm gonna touch on here is just creativity. So unlike the stock market, whenever you are going to purchase a stock, let's say the stock costs $5, there's no way around paying $5 for that stock. You buy it, you hope that it goes up in value, or you expect that it pays you dividends. However, in the real estate world, there is a countless number of ways that you can be creative, and you can actually get properties either without any of your own money, with very little of your own money, or you can use leverage, which allows you to pay, let's say, 25% down. That would be $25,000 for a $100,000 property. Yes, you're going to have a mortgage, but you're also going to have that principal pay down. Now, it's not very common for you to be able to borrow other people's money in order to purchase stocks. And if it were a possibility, would you be comfortable doing that? There are countless numbers of people in very large companies where all they focus on is making sure that they buy you the best stock. But at the end of the day, they also are very forthright that they could lose your money. In real estate, it's a lot harder to lose money unless you're just grossly negligent, because people always need a place to live, and so long as you don't have an excessive amount of deferred maintenance, the property will be good for several decades, if not centuries from now. My brother and I own a duplex that has been it was built in 1885. It's been a cash flowing property for well over 100 years. How impressive is that? So all this to say, it's a lot more time intensive than the stock market, but here in real estate, $1 does not necessarily equal $1. Now in real estate, $1 does not equal $1, but it's impossible for me to say what it would equal. But it's going to be more than the amount that you put in it when you do real estate right, because you're going to have all of these things working for you in the background. You're going to lower your taxable income. You're going to get to participate in appreciation. You're going to have principal pay down. You have the potential of creating sweat equity, or equity from taking a horrible or derelict property and making it nice again. You're going to have the cash flow from whoever's renting the property. They're going to pay for all of your expenses. You're going to have some left over, and you just have the world at your fingertips. And there's no limits on how creative you can be in order to get a large number of assets under management a lot quicker than, let's say, the stock market, where you have to save up money in order to invest. All right, so thank you so much. That was a very high level overview of investing in real estate. Again, I love this. This is the area that I mainly live. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, any concerns, or if you want any points of clarification, please let me know. I'll be hanging out in the comments and happy to answer your questions. So thanks so much, and can't wait to see you guys tomorrow when we talk about investing in businesses. Can't wait. Talk to you guys soon.